that I learned a lot today, I'll be honest, being here and having the conversation with the folks in the Indigenous community. I think the Centre of Newcomers is a great program, a great organization. It allows so many different groups to understand what culture is, what Canada is, but also the tools and resources we have in the city for them to thrive. Growing up as a child of immigrant parents, I think it's important that they understand also what Calgary has to offer. And as I said in my speech, and they didn't have the ability to use this program, so they just kind of, went with the flow and learned as they went on and worked to live. And to have the experience of growing up in an immigrant family and being here today to speak about my experiences, and then seeing how this Centre for Newcomers has grown and occupying a brand new 5,300 square foot, 1,000 square foot facility, I think this is showing the passion behind allowing organizations to be there for newcomers, but also the people that live here. I think that's also a great story to share, and I'm so happy and honored to be able to speak today.
I've been privileged and grateful enough to be a part of these efforts to really see the relationships evolve. So in the beginning, I think a big motivating factor for us was encouraging CFN to establish really strong, authentic relationships with First Nations communities and elders in and around the Treaty 7 area. So to see how that has evolved over time, over the last 6 years, is it's amazing. I'm really critical about systems seeing the impacts of reconciliation. I'm not even sure that I know exactly what that looks like or what the end outcome is, or if I will see that in my lifetime. I'm hopeful that I will, but this is a different perspective. This is like two demographics of people who have been impacted by historical events. These historical events have really shaped, our systems, the current infrastructures that we're dealing with, and that was a commonality that, for me, I'm witnessing brought these two groups together. So, to see the impact of what reconciliation efforts could look like, I think is what today is about to me.
Why I think it's important for me and important for the work that Help Seeker Technologies does is that we're always cognizant of the fact that everything is interconnected, and these big sort of heavy social issues like racism, discrimination, understanding, building relationships is really foundational to the lot of work that we do. And the ability for myself to work for a non-Indigenous organization that values the voices of Indigenous methodology, processes, people, different ways of knowing, to be disruptors and to be agents of change is really central to the work that we do.
So I'm so proud to be involved today in launching this Indigenous Education for Newcomers toolkit. I think it's an important and critical step toward reconciliation, especially given that we have so many newcomers to Canada that are joining our community, building new communities, building new bonds of friendship and unity, that we need to really understand what the history of Canada is and what the history of the Indigenous peoples of Canada is. And so, it's hard enough as a citizen of this country to kind of access that truth. It's more so for newcomers to our community as we build new bonds of friendship and understanding. I think it's a key bridge toward reconciliation.
I think one of the things that when I look back over the course of the 6 years is, like any journey, one, you don't know what you don't know. Two, you need to have an open heart and an open mind to want to know what you don't know. And three, you need to be able to accept that you're going to be more wrong than you are right. And I think that is really the course of any type of work that we do in ending systemic discrimination, right? Is the authentic piece to that is having the people in the room there to be able to tell you that this is not working or this is working. And even for people that are, used to working with, like we work with racialized communities, with ethnocultural communities, and we know quite a bit when it comes to anti-racism with those communities and what that history is and what that looks like. But that doesn't mean that we know anything when it comes to any other community or any other group.
I think it's really important for all of us to recognize the lands that we occupy every day, and respect. There was a lot of things I took away out of today. Respect, trust, relationships. That's in every culture. The other thing I learned from an elder was, titles are created. We're all born human. That is something I am going to take away, and I'm going to bring back home tonight to my family, because that's really important to remember that.
We're still grappling with a lot of external factors, with a lot of truth. We're literally unearthing a lot of truth when it comes to truth and reconciliation. But to witness something be developed where it's going to try to bridge the gap of understanding, and then hopefully contribute to, efforts of equality, efforts of respect, reciprocity between, like I said, two populations of racialized people who have been impacted negatively by history. To me, that's what today is about. It's about realizing all of that work in the last 6 years, and that it's possible. So I think the message to other larger systems and organizations who want to step into this work, who grapple with, I don't know how it's going to look, I don't know what it's going to be like I need a step-by-step guide to get to this point. The process of where we have been in the last 6 years is a perfect example of how that sort of happens naturally. And you don't necessarily need this step-by-step guide on where to get it. You just have to sort of like Casey says, let these relationships move at the speed of trust. And I think the last 6 years was about building that trust.
The work that we do. I really appreciated some of the comments from the elders today, and when I think about, academically, the work of decolonizing and indigenizing, and there's a lot of really smart PhD and university level educated people in the room, Indigenous people in the room, which is fabulous. And for some of us, we're the first of our generation to do that, the first of our families to do that. But also acknowledging the level of knowledge that the elders have, who don't have the credentials, but as Cindy always says, they are high-level PhD holders, right? In the way in which they transform that knowledge for us. And one of the Métis elders, she talked about, disassembling things. That's what decolonizing is. We're disassembling those pieces, and the work at Help Seeker, we think about that disruptive, and not just disassembling, but it's recognizing that many systems are broken already. And if they're going to change anyways, how do we want to support the building of that new social infrastructure? And this is one really important part of that.
Yeah, no, it's been a long journey since about 2016, but I think that the part of being able to get to a day like today is to start with that genuine desire to build bridges, and of course it means building trust. It means building trust with our Indigenous elders, and having them trust that we want as an organization to educate and to do the right thing, and to reach out and build understanding toward each other. So I think it's a great statement that Casey made around trust, and I think that's the foundation of this program.
And I think that it's been a really humbling experience, and I think the one place that we need to be careful is to not just sit on our laurels, right? Because the journey needs to continue, and we're going to continue to make mistakes, but we're going to continue to celebrate successes, and we're going to continue to own all of that process, because people smarter than us have always said that it's always the journey, not the destination. And I think this journey is worth it to be on for a lifetime.